Welcome to the world of Kojiki, Japan's oldest book of myths and legends. In this series, we bring to life the epic stories from ancient times, where gods walked the earth and shaped the destiny of the land. You'll hear tales from the age of the gods, including the divine descent of Ninigi no Mikoto, and the legendary trials of his descendants in the famous tale of Umisachi and Yamasachi. These are the stories of the Hyuga Three Generations, a sacred bridge between heaven and the mortal world. If you enjoy these myths and would like to hear more, including lesser-known episodes from the Kojiki, be sure to subscribe and follow the journey through Japan's legendary past. Let the myths begin. Chapter 14 Ninigi no Mikoto. Amaterasu Amakami and Takagi no Kami spoke to the heir to the Sun Throne, the noble and victorious Ame no Ashihomi no Mikoto. It has now been reported that the central land of Reed Plains has been pacified. Therefore, as previously entrusted to you, descend to that land and rule over it. However, the heir Ame no Ashihomi replied, "While I was preparing to descend, a child was born to me. His name is Ame Nijishikuni Nijishi Amatsuhiko Hikohono Ninigi no Mikoto. It would be best for this child to descend instead." This child was born of the union between Ame no Ashihomi and the daughter of Takagi no Kami, Yorizahata Toyo Akitsushirheim no Mikoto. They had two children, the elder, Ame no Hokari no Mikoto, and the younger, Hikoho no Ninigi. Thus, in accordance with Ame no Ashihomi's words, a divine command was issued to Hikoho no Ninigi. This land of abundant reed plains, the land of fresh rice ears, is the land you are to govern. Therefore, obey this command and descend. As Hikoho no Ninigi prepared to descend from the heavens, there stood a deity at the crossroads of the heavenly descent path. This deity illuminated Takamagara above and the central land of Reed Plains below. Then Amaterasu Amakami and Takagi no Kami said to the goddess Ame no Yuzum, "You are but a delicate woman, yet you possess the strength to stand firm and overwhelm any deity you face. Thus, go forth alone and ask that deity, 'Who are you, standing in the path of the heavenly descent of the offspring of the heavenly gods?'" When Ame no Yuzum questioned the deity, he answered, "I am a Kanitsu Kami, and my name is Saratahiko no Kami. I stand here because I have heard that the offspring of the heavenly gods is to descend. I have come to serve as a guide and to welcome him." Chapter 15 The Descent of the Heavenly Grandson. Thus, along with the ancestral leaders of the five clans, Ame no Koyain, Futadama, Ame no Yuzum, Ishikorodome, and Tama no Oya, they descended from the heavens. They brought with them the sacred regalia, the Yasakani no Magatama that had summoned Amaterasu Amakami from the heavenly rock cave, the mirror, Yada no Kagami, and the Kusanagi no Tsurugi. They were also accompanied by Tokoyo no Omoikane, Tajikareo, and Ame no Iwatawake. Amaterasu Amakami said, "This mirror is my very spirit. Revere and worship it just as you would worship me. And Omoikane shall handle all affairs concerning my rights and carry out governance." These two deities, Amaterasu Amakami and Omoikane, are enshrined with utmost solemnity at the Isuzu Shrine, inner shrine of Ise Grand Shrine. Toyukaime no Kami, Toyuk-bime, is the deity enshrined at the outer shrine of Ise, located in Watarai. Ame no Iwatawake, also known as Kushi Iwamado and Toyo Iwamado, is the guardian deity of palace gates. Tajikareo resides in Sananagata of Ise. Ame no Koyain is the ancestral deity of the Nakato no Muraji. Futadama is the ancestor of the Imbi clan. Ame no Yuzum is the ancestral deity of the Sarum clan. Ishikorodome is the ancestor of the Kagamitsukuri no Muraji, mirror makers. Tama no Oya is the ancestor of the Tama no Oya clan. the heavenly deities gave a command to Amatsuhiko Hano Ninigi no Mikoto. Ninigi departed from his divine seat in Takamagara, pushed aside the layered clouds that hung in the heavens, and cleared the way with divine authority. On the way, he stood upon the floating bridge of heaven and descended to the floating island below, landing on the sacred peak of Takachiho in Hyuga, Tsukushi. At that time, Aim no Ashihai and Amatsu-kyume accompanied him, adorned with splendid stone quivers, heavenly stone quivers, girded with the sacred sword of Kobatsuchi, carrying haji bows in hand, and holding makakeo arrows tucked beneath their arms to serve and protect the heavenly grandson. Aim no Ashihai is the ancestor of the Otomo clan. Amatsu-kyume is the ancestor of the Kyume clan. Then Ninigi said, "This land faces the land of Kara, and a straight road leads to Cape Kasasa. It is a country where the morning sun shines straight and the evening sun glows brightly. Therefore, this is indeed a good land." And there he established a grand palace, setting firm foundation pillars deep into the bedrock of the earth and raising high the roof beams into the heavens. Chapter 16 Konohana-no-Sakuya-bime. Amatsuhiko Hiko Hono Ninigi saw a beautiful maiden at Cape Kasasa. "Whose daughter are you?" he asked. The maiden replied, "I am the daughter of Oyumatsumi. My name is Kamuatatsuhime, also known as Konohana-no-Sakuya-bime no Mikoto." "Do you have any siblings?" he asked. "I have an elder sister named Iwanagahime," she replied. Then Ninigi said, "I wish to marry you. What do you say?" She answered, "I cannot answer on my own. My father, Oyumatsumi, will give you a reply." So a messenger was sent to her father, Oyumatsumi, to request the marriage. Oyumatsumi was overjoyed and sent both daughters, Iwanagahime and Konohana-no-Sakuya-bime, along with many gifts placed on many platforms, as offerings to accompany his daughters. However, the elder sister Iwanagahime was very ugly in appearance. Seeing her, Ninigi was frightened and sent her back to her father, keeping only the younger sister, Konohana-no-Sakuya-bime, with whom he shared a single night's union. Oyumatsumi, ashamed that Ninigi had rejected Iwanagahime, said, "The reason I presented both of my daughters was this. If you would take Iwanagahime, then the offspring of the heavenly deity would be steadfast and eternal, like a rock, even through snow and wind. If you would take Konohana-no-Sakuya-bime, then your prosperity would flourish like the blooming of trees." I offered them with this prayer in mind. Yet, because you have returned Iwanagahime and kept only Konohana-no-Sakuya-bime, the lifespan of the offspring of the heavenly deity shall be as fleeting as the blossoms of trees. Thus, from that time on, the lives of the emperors have not been eternal. Later, Konohana-no-Sakuya-bime came before Ninigi and spoke. "I am with child, and the time of birth is near. This is not a child to be born in secret. Therefore, I say this to you." Ninigi said, "Sakuya-bime, can you truly be pregnant from only one night's union? Surely this is not my child, but the child of a terrestrial deity." Sakuya-bime replied, "If the child within me is indeed of a terrestrial deity, then it will not be born safely. But if it is the child of the heavenly deity, it shall be born safely." Saying this, she built a great birthing hall without a door, entered it, and sealed it with clay. When the time for birth came, she set fire to the birthing hall and gave birth amid the flames. As the fire burned fiercely, the first child born was named Hoderi no Mikoto. He is the ancestral deity of the Ada clan of the Hayato people. Next, she gave birth to Hashizuyari no Mikoto. Then, she gave birth to Huri no Mikoto, also known as Amatsuhiko Hoderi no Mikoto. These were the three deities born. Chapter 17 Umisachi-biko and Yamasachi-biko. Hoderi no Mikoto was called Umisachi-biko, the prince of the sea's fortune, and he caught various large and small fish from the sea. Hyuga no Mikoto was called Yamasachi-biko, the prince of the mountain's fortune, and he hunted various large and small animals in the mountains. One day, Hyuga said to his elder brother Hoderi, "Let us exchange our tools, my hunting bow and your fishing hook, and try each other's trade." Though he asked many times, his elder brother refused. But at last, he finally agreed to the exchange. Then Hyuga tried using the fishing hook to catch fish, but he could not catch even a single one, and worse yet, he lost the fishing hook in the sea. After that, Hoderi came seeking his fishing hook and said, "Mountain game and sea catch must each be taken with the proper tools. Now let us return each other's gear." Hyuga replied, "I tried to catch fish with your hook but caught none, and in the end, I lost it in the sea." But his elder brother insisted, demanding its return with force. So Hyuga took the 10-hand sword he wore at his side, broke it into pieces, and forged 500 fishing hooks to make amends, but his brother would not accept them. Next, he made 1,000 fishing hooks to repay him, but again, his brother refused to accept them and said, "Just return my original hook." Chapter 18 Visit to the Palace of the Sea God. As Hyuga wept in sorrow by the seashore, the deity Shiatsuchi came to him and asked, "Why is the Lord of the Void, Soritsuhiko, crying in such grief?" Hyuga replied, "My elder brother and I exchanged our tools, his fishing hook and my hunting bow, but I lost his hook in the sea. I tried to repay him with many new hooks, but he refused them all and insists I return the original one. That is why I am weeping." Shiatsuchi said, "Let me devise a good plan for you." Then he immediately built a small boat woven tightly from bamboo, called a Manashur Katsuma, and placed Hyuga in it. He said, "When I push this boat out to sea, go with the current. You will find a good tide. If you follow it, you will come to a palace with houses lined like fish scales. That is the palace of Watatsumi, the sea god. When you arrive at the gate, there will be a sacred katsura tree beside a spring. Sit upon that tree. Watatsumi's daughter will see you and take care of you." Following his advice, Hyuga proceeded a short distance, and all happened just as Shiatsuchi had said. He climbed the katsura tree. At that time, Toyotamahime, the daughter of Watatsumi, sent her maid to draw water from the spring. As she approached, light shimmered on the water. When she looked up, she saw a beautiful and noble man, and was filled with wonder. Hyuga said to the maid, "I would like some water." She drew water and offered it to him in a vessel. But Hyuga did not drink it. Instead, he untied the string of jewels from his neck, placed a jewel in his mouth, and dropped it into the water inside the vessel. The jewel stuck fast to the inside, and the maid could not remove it. So she brought the vessel with the jewel still inside to Toyotamahime. Seeing the jewel, Toyotamahime asked, "Is there someone outside the gate?" The maid answered, "Yes, there is a man sitting on the katsura tree by our spring. He is a remarkably beautiful and noble figure, surpassing even our own sea god in dignity. When he asked for water, I gave it to him, but instead of drinking it, he placed this jewel in the vessel. It will not come out, so I brought it to you as it is." Hearing this, Toyotamahime went out and saw Hyuga. The moment she laid eyes on him, she fell in love, and he gazed back at her. She reported to her father, "There is a beautiful and noble man before our gate." Watatsumi himself came out to look and said, This is none other than Soritsuhiko, the noble child of the heavenly sun. He then invited Huri into the palace, spread 8 layers of sea lion hides, and over them 8 layers of silk mats, and seated him atop. He prepared a feast with many offerings on trays, and soon gave Toyotamahime to him in marriage. Thus Huri stayed in the land of Watatsumi for 3 years. Chapter 19 The Submission of Hoderi. Huri, recalling the events that had brought him there, let out a deep sigh. Hearing this sigh, Toyotamahime spoke to her father. Though Huri has lived here for 3 years, he has never sighed before. But tonight, he sighed deeply. There must be some reason for it. Then Watatsumi, her father, asked Huri. This morning, my daughter said that though you have stayed here for 3 years, you never sighed, until now. Do you have a reason for this? Why did you come to this land in the first place? Huri told Watatsumi in detail how he had lost his brother's fishing hook, and how his brother had persistently demanded its return. Upon hearing this, Watatsumi summoned all the fish of the sea, great and small, and asked, "Has any of you taken a fishing hook?" Then the fish replied, "Recently, the Red Sea bream has had something stuck in its throat and has been unable to eat. That may be the one." When Watatsumi examined the Red Sea bream's throat, there was indeed a fishing hook. He removed it, purified it, and handed it to Huri. Watatsumi then gave Huri these instructions. When you return this hook to your elder brother, say to him, "This is the hook of misfortune, the hook of irritation, the hook of poverty, the hook of folly." Say this as you hand it to him behind your back. If your brother makes rice fields on high ground, then you make yours on low ground. If he makes them on low ground, make yours on high ground. Since I control the waters, he will suffer from poor harvests for 3 years and be plunged into poverty. If he resents you and comes to fight, use this tide-raising jewel to drown him. When he begs for mercy, use the tide-ebbing jewel to save him and torment him until he yields. With that, Watatsumi gave Huri the tide-raising jewel, Shai Mitsutama, and the tide-ebbing jewel, Shio Furutama, and then summoned all the crocodiles of the sea. He said, "Now, the heavenly prince Soritsuhiko wishes to return to the upper world, Ashihara no Nakatsukuni. How many days will it take to escort him?" Each crocodile responded according to its body length. Then a 1-fathom-long crocodile, said, "I can take him and return within a single day." So Watatsumi said, "Then you shall escort him. But make sure he is not frightened as he travels through the sea." He placed Huri on the crocodile's back, and it carried him away. As promised, the crocodile delivered Huri in a single day. When Huri prepared to send it back, he removed the sword he wore at his side, took its cord, and tied it around the crocodile's neck. Because of this, that 1-fathom crocodile is to this day known as the deity Sahimochi no Kami. Following Watatsumi's instructions, Huri returned the hook to his brother using the prescribed words and gestures. After that, Hoderi gradually fell into poverty. He grew resentful and eventually rose in anger to attack. Whenever Hoderi tried to attack, Huri used the tide-raising jewel to drown him. When he cried out in pain and begged for his life, Huri would use the tide-ebbing jewel to save him, only to torment him again. At last, Hoderi bowed his head and said, "From now on, I shall serve as your faithful guardian by day and night." Thus, even today, the Hayato, descendants of Hoderi, perform dances and rituals in the imperial court that mimic the gestures of his drowning, never ceasing in their service. Chapter 20 Ugayafukiaezu no Mikoto. Toyotamahime, daughter of the sea god Watatsumi, came up from the sea to where Huri dwelled in the land above and said, I have long been with child, and now the time of birth is near. Considering this, it is not fitting for the child of a heavenly deity to be born beneath the waves. That is why I have come here." Immediately, a birthing hut was built for her on the seashore, using cormorant feathers as thatch. However, before the roof was finished, Toyotamahime was seized by intense labor pains and could wait no longer, so she entered the hut. Then, just before the birth began, she gave a command to her husband. When one of foreign origin gives birth, they return to their true form. I, too, will now assume my original shape to give birth. I beg you, do not look upon me." Huri, curious about her words, secretly peeked as the birth began. To his astonishment, Toyotamahime had transformed into a great sea dragon, 8 fathoms long, writhing and crawling about. At the sight of this, Huri was terrified and fled in fear. Realizing that her husband had seen her in her true form, Toyotamahime felt deep shame. After giving birth, she left the child behind and said, "I had hoped to come and go freely between this land and the sea. But now that you have seen my form, I am too ashamed to remain." With that, she sealed the boundary between the land and the sea and returned to the realm of the sea god. Thus the child born at that time was named Ugayafukiaezu no Mikoto, the heavenly sun prince of the shore who could not finish thatching the cormorant feather roof. Yet despite her shame and resentment over Huri's betrayal, Toyotamahime could not extinguish her love for him. She sent her younger sister, Tamayori-hime, to raise the child in her stead and conveyed a song through her. A red jewel glows so brightly, even the cord that threads it shines. Yet more noble still is your form, like a white jewel beyond compare. To this, Huri replied, "On the island where wild ducks gather, I lay with my beloved wife. I shall never forget her, as long as I live." Hyuga Hoderi no Mikoto then resided in the palace of Takachiho for 580 years. His mausoleum lies to the west of Mount Takachiho. Ugayafukiaezu no Mikoto later took his aunt, Tamayori-hime, as his wife, and they bore 4 sons. The first, Itsuyu no Mikoto. The second, Inahi no Mikoto. The third, Mikinu no Mikoto. The fourth, Wakamikinu no Mikoto, also known as Toyomikinu no Mikoto, and also as Kamiyamato-iwa-biko no Mikoto. These are 4 divine children. Mikinu crossed the sea to the land of Tokoyo, treading upon the waves. Inahi entered the sea, seeking the realm of his deceased mother,